We do America the Beautiful again. Some fucking fashion designer sang it, which was worse and more lame than the country singer from night one. She said, "Hold my beer, lame country singer."
No, that
fuck this song up.
You can't. No, that country singer, he should never freaking sing again. If you saw the reaction to everybody when Gable slapped his cup, Randy Orton's like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that."
Yeah.
And everybody gets out the ring like, "I don't even want to."
Oh yeah, they all bail immediately.
Yeah, I don't want to be near this smoke.
Lashley gets up and slaps almost.
Yeah, what was that? He threw him down. He no-sold it, got up and just slapped the shit.
Yeah.
I felt a little bad for him.
Grabs a stun gun. Sammy runs to the floor, then runs into a giant hand. Where'd the hand come from?
I don't know. I guess it was set up.
Okay. Who set it up?
I don't know. I guess they had to get some color.
Undertaker's Mongolian hair was a weird choice.
Sure was. Was it real, though?
I hope so.
Did he have extensions? There's that moment where Vince gets the football and he teases punting it to the crowd, but doesn't. Then he punts it into McAfee. And I was really worried about that punt, too.
WrestleMania 38, Night 2. We are in Arlington, Texas. We do America the Beautiful again. Some fucking fashion designer sang it, which was worse and more lame than the country singer from night one. It was like she said, "Oh yeah."
I thought she cooked.
Oh, she sucked. She was awful. She was screechy. She said, "Hold my beer, lame country singer."
No, that
fuck this song up.
You can't. No, that country singer, he should never freaking sing again.
They both shouldn't.
He should retire. It should be sued for all the money that he's made on singing.
Let me get a night one hype video, and then Marky Mark did the night two video. Both were equally lame, and I still say they should have got Deion Sanders.
There you go.
And then Triple H comes out. He does a long ass entrance. He hugs Stephanie and the kids, and then he slapped hands with Gable Stevenson. Hugged him too. Triple H gets the crowd to cheer for him, and then he grabs a pair of wrestling boots. And he says, "Thank you. Welcome to WrestleMania." Then he leaves the boots in the middle of the ring. Turns out that was his official goodbye. And then Gable Stevenson is introduced for some reason. Like, "Hey, everybody, in the crowd is Gable Stevenson." And then he waves and everybody's excited.
You know, I couldn't help but to wonder during that and later on, because they were clearly putting the strap to that guy. So I wonder where he would have been. You know, after Vince left, he never really got to TV. I think he had one match officially, but yeah, they had the rocket strapped on him already before he even wrestled a match. Like, he even got drafted. God. So, yeah, just what would have been. Mm-hmm. And, you know, maybe he would have sucked, but I know he would have been prominent on TV.
You're telling me he would have been worse than Tozawa?
Or you never know. I never heard him talk, but they were really pushing him as like the next Kurt Angle. Oh, he's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist.
He doesn't have to say shit. He just needs to be a wrecker.
Well, in Vince's WWE, you had to say shit.
In Vince's WWE, you just need somebody that can say shit for you.
Well, if you're going to be the next Kurt Angle, you're going to have some range on you.
If you're going to be the next Brock Lesnar, all you need to do is be an ass kicker.
Parker Boudreaux was the next Brock Lesnar. This guy was the next Kurt Angle. But yeah, it would have been interesting to see what would have been.
Well, the first match of the night is RK Bro versus Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. And I do not miss Riddle's stupid doves. Little CGI doves. Hate those things. No DQs, but they still had to tag for some reason. Made no sense to me. And the Alpha Academy weren't total jokes, aside from Gable's stupid shushing. So it was nice to see. Profits were complete cartoons. They had the solo cups. They were dancing around. That, unfortunately, was Vince's WWE.
Yep. Gyrating and dancing.
Yeah. They're so rhythmic.
It really did stick out. And then the New Day, they were... It's like, yeah, that was a role for them.
Yep. Riddle and Orton did stereo draping DDTs. And then the Orton, coil thing. Gable noticed did a Steiner Bulldog. Of course, it didn't win the match. Ford did a cool looking blockbuster to Gable from Dawkins' shoulders. And Riddle hit Ford with a RKO from the top rope. Orton hits Gable midair with an RKO for the win. It looked like he was trying to do his diving headbutt. And then the Solo Cup celebrate with RK Bro after. Then they invite Gable Stevenson in the ring for some reason. They all go to have a drink from the Street Profit Solo Cups, and then Chad Gable comes out of nowhere, slaps Gable Stevenson's drink out of his hand for some reason. Gable talks shit, does an overly obnoxious shush. Stevenson hits Gable with a belly-to-belly suplex, and we're supposed to have cummed our pants.
I don't know. It was explosive.
I
You
guess,
see the hip hop,
whatever. Then the good guys all finally drank.
and Stevenson was sucked off thoroughly. Can we suck him some more?
Jesus Christ.
I love how also, if you saw the reaction to everybody when Gable slapped his cup, it was like, oh, you,
Yeah. You fucked up. You fucked up.
yeah, like Randy Orton's like, oh, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And everybody gets out the ring like, I don't even want to
Oh,
be
yeah,
near
they
this.
all bail immediately. Like it was a
Yeah.
Western.
Yeah, I don't want to be near this smoke.
That was a nice little touch. It was just weird that Stevenson was even there in the first place.
Yeah. Now come to think of it, he wasn't going to be the next Brock Lesnar, but I would bet that he would have had a match against Brock Lesnar, a marquee match. Like he would have been a marquee match against Brock Lesnar. Maybe they would have had like a Kurt Angle Benoit like start. It's like, you think you can out wrestle me? I'm an NCAA champion too, bitch. This being Brock
that makes
Lesnar.
my nipples hard.
And then they square up like actual wrestling.
Yeah, I like that. They do another night one recap. I don't know why.
Okay,
It's
it
our
wasn't
second.
just my.
Yeah, it was another night one recap. They just did one.
Well, for me, like after every match, they did like some night one recap. Like
Oh
each
yeah,
match.
they've recapped every match from night one, pretty much.
Yeah.
It was annoying. Like I fucking watched night one. This whole thing was lazy. Just the videos.
Yeah.
So then we had Omos versus Bobby Lashley. The match is a result of Lashley knocking Omos down one Raw. So Omos had to get it back. The bomber jacket was an unusual choice for Omos. Was that like a Tuskegee Airmen type deal?
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, is there a reason why you did a bomber jacket?
No, that was just him, I guess.
Well, Omos fucks Lashley up. Lashley gets up and slaps Omos. Omos fucks Lashley up some more.
Yeah,
And
what
then
was that?
Right?
Lashley kind of just no sold. He threw him down. He no sold it, got up and just slapped the shit out.
Yeah.
Like, what was that? I felt a little bad for Omos. I don't know if that was necessary. Now, maybe he slammed him the wrong way or something, and Lashley got pissed.
I don't see Lashley doing that. I can see him getting pissed, but he seems like the type of guy that would get pissed in the locker room
Afterwards, like keep it professional, and then
like, come here, let me holler at you, player.
I don't know. It's just weird that he just like no sold it and got up and slapped the shit out of him.
Well,
almost is like 7'4", and you're just slapping the shit out of him. What are you thinking?
Well, that's the thing. He slapped him and then almost continued to beat the shit out of him.
Yeah. If you're pissed off and that's your reaction, like, what's the end game here? Because he is 7'4". You want to keep this in kayfabe.
I don't know. I wouldn't fuck with Lashley.
But he's 7'4".
So Lashley's trained. Almost just played basketball. I'll take Lashley.
That's fair.
So yeah, almost hit Lashley with a modified gorilla press slam. Then we get the obligatory big man bear hug spot. Lashley fights out. He suplexes Omos. Tried earlier and failed. It was a big moment. Lashley spears Omos' kidneys, and then he hits a second spear for the win. And I thought this was a fun as hell match. I love watching this giant man just beat up an even gianter man.
Yeah, when the giant man makes another man look small, you know.
Oh my God.
Who's also a giant.
Lashley looked like Cedric Alexander almost.
Yeah. There was also that spot, and they played it over again too. Almost he had the double choke and threw Lashley into the turnbuckle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if his head hit the post, but it
was close.
Looked awfully close.
Yeah.
Could have broke his damn neck.
Right. It may have made contact. That's kind of how I viewed it, because I didn't see his head like reverberate like he hit it. That and he didn't react. If I hit the back of my head, I'd be grabbing it. Like, get off me.
Yeah, ref checking on him.
Slap you again. Yeah. Good match. Good match. Well, up next, we have a Johnny Knoxville Sami Zayn hype video. They already showed this shit on night one, so I don't even know why they bothered. In fact, every hype video they already showed on night one. Very lazy. Very disappointed. And unfortunately, that brings us to Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville in an anything goes match. Knoxville came out wearing goggles and a cape, weighing 2 cheeseburgers shy of 175 pounds. So it starts off with Sami beating Knoxville's ass, then he sets up a table full of mouse traps. Knoxville gains the advantage with trash can lids, then props up a table in the corner. Knoxville gets sent through the table in the corner with an exploder. Then he blocks a hell of a kick with the air horn. Party Boy shows up just to strip and be gay with Sami, then get his ass beat. Wee Man comes from under the ring. He kicks Sami's ass. Then he body slams Sami. Knoxville almost wins with a tornado DDT. Wee Man gets a machine with a boot attached to it, presumably to kick Sami in the balls with it. Sami ends up kicking Wee Man and square in the face, which that was really cathartic to watch the replay of. He didn't hold back. Sami goes for a top rope something. Knoxville pulls out a dead man switch, and Pyro goes off, knocking Sami off the turnbuckle. Knoxville grabs a bowling ball and rolls it into Sami's balls. Then he drags Sami to Wee Man's machine from earlier, and sure enough, it kicks Sami in the balls. Knoxville grabs a stun gun. Sami runs to the floor, then runs into a giant hand. And then where'd the hand come from?
I don't know. I guess it was set up.
Okay. Who set it up?
I don't know.
Sami runs into the ring. He gets the upper hand. He goes for another top rope something, but Knoxville cuts him off with tongs, salad tongs, to the balls. Sami then goes through the mousetrap table he set up earlier. Knoxville stuns Sami with the stun gun, then traps him in a giant rat trap and pins him. 2 things I have from this. I never want to hear anything about Sami winning a championship or being a main eventer ever fuck it again. He lost to Johnny Knoxville in a giant mousetrap, and a giant hand took him out. Second, when did the Jackass crew get black people?
I guess for the reboot. They did a reboot. I guess they had to get some color added. I don't know.
I always thought that was a uniquely white trash thing to jump off roofs.
I never watched the reboot, so
Neither did
I was old at that point, so
I.
being an adult, that kind of passed me by.
I was too old for the third one.
I don't think I watched any of the movies, actually. I watched the TV show, but I don't think I watched any of the movies.
They're just like the TV show, just longer.
Just 2 hours of jackassery.
I just find it weird that you got some brothers in there being stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, no. You take this one. I'll get the next one. Play it. Well, after that, we get a girl match. Sasha Banks and Naomi won somehow. I believe that's their last match as champions, isn't it?
No.
Oh.
It goes on a little bit, but they are now champions, and they will, soon not be champions. They won. It was an assisted code breaker, so that's how they won. The highlights of this, I would say, was definitely Corey Graves, because he was very much into his wife, or his fiance at this time, Carmella.
Oh, yeah, she had a mask on, didn't she?
She did, but it was part of her gimmick. Because
what the fuck is that?
Because she's pretty, so she wears a mask so that her face doesn't get damaged. But yeah, Corey Graves was the highlight of that.
We had Edge and AJ Styles hype video. Same thing as night one. So watch our night one review to see my reaction to these videos. We had AJ Styles versus Edge. I got to be honest with you. I could not get into this match at all. But Styles came out. He's already bleeding. Edge had a great entrance. He came out from under the ramp and on a throne. Just kind of like The Undertaker. Styles has the advantage most of the beginning until he misses a springboard 450 splash. Edge got his knees up, and that fucks his knees up. So Edge hits a shoulder breaker, and that fucks Styles' shoulder up. Then they each hit some big moves, both being pretty equal. Styles hits a suplex on the apron, and then finally hits a springboard 450. Styles misses the phenomenal forearm. Edge misses the spear. Styles hits a Styles Clash for a near fall. Then he goes for another phenomenal forearm. And then Damian Priest is standing ringside doing nothing. So Styles continues with a phenomenal forearm. Edge hits him midair with a spear. for the win. And then Priest and Edge take a knee in the middle of the ring, start laughing maniacally, and then they pose.
Yep. And Priest joins Edge. So starting with the whole video package thing, Edge was babyface and basically asked for an opponent. He got an opponent, and then all of a sudden the heat started as he turned heel after the match was accepted, like the same night. But it was a Vince thing. There had to be a good guy and a bad guy, so that was a Vince thing. Triple H doesn't care, as he had the New Day and Judgment Day, both heels, wrestling against each other. And he also does face versus face, Randy Orton and Cody. Like, if it was Vince, someone was turning heel, maybe they turn back, but there's going to be a good and a bad guy.
They're at least going to play a heel.
Yeah. So,
well, I thought the Randy Orton Cody Rhodes match was kind of a Vince match because Randy Orton was really the heel.
He's getting cheered though.
What? That don't mean anything. They cheer for Rollins. They sing his song.
They sure do.
And then they boo him. They're fucking stupid. Well, they announced the attendance, 78,453, and they didn't make a big deal about that. I mean, they did a graphic and stuff, but they didn't like bring out the host or anything. Just announced it.
Yeah, just dude.
That brings us
came out and said, "You know what time it is?"
Right. And this was super early in the show, so we don't know what time it is. New Day, fuckers. Speaking of which, we have Sheamus and Ridge Holland with Butch versus the New Day, and this was after Holland committed his hate crime on Big E, took him out for his life. New Day were dressed like Big E, and then Holland and Sheamus jump Woods and Kofi. Kofi hits a Trouble in Paradise, but the pin's broken up. Sheamus hits Kofi with a brogue kick on the floor. Then he hits Woods with a brogue kick in the ring while the ref is distracted by Butch. Holland wins after a Northern Lights bomb. And then Sheamus and Holland had to pull Butch off of Woods after the match. He's pulling on his braids.
Yeah, this was the Pete Dunne that was Butch. Just like constant motion. Let me at him. Always wanting to fight. This is kind of a squash, if I'm being honest. Like, it couldn't have been more than 5 minutes, but they had to get to the next match.
Technically, it wasn't a squash because they jumped them. To me, a squash would be an even match that isn't an even match at all.
Yeah. This is a short, quick match, yeah.
Absolutely. Which is interesting because, Big E was just hurt. So for the New Day to lose so quickly and to lose to them.
Yeah, you'd think they would get their WrestleMania moment of winning and honoring Big E.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. To me, WrestleMania would be the conclusion of feuds and shit. I get starting new ones, but since it's the Super Bowl and all that.
Oh, not in Vince's WWE.
We have the Hall of Fame covered again. The Undertaker came out. He slowly paced up and down the stage, and then he posed, and then he just left. And I thought Undertaker's Mongolian hair was a weird choice.
Sure was. Was it real, though?
I hope so.
Did he have extensions?
I can't imagine paying for that.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Punter and Austin Theory had a hype video. Same thing as night one. And then Vince McMahon's introduced. And then he introduces the future Universal Champion, Austin Theory. Theory comes out, and he takes a selfie with Vince. Then Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders start dancing on the entrance ramp. And out comes the Punter to cheerleader music, which I think was appropriate for him. And then we move on to Austin Theory versus the Punter. Vince sat ringside with an evil smile on his face. Wanted to see the destruction Austin Theory unleashed. Crowd sang the Punter's cheerleader song during the match. Thought that was nice. Punter got on the headset and did a really bad Stone Cold impression. Hated it. Then he missed a swanton and he hit a suplex. We were supposed to be impressed with that because it was a suplex. It was like when Rodman hit the arm drag. He hit an arm drag.
Was this the jump up on the turnbuckle?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. He did a box jump to the top rope and then hit the suplex.
Whatever.
Which is the impressive part.
I wasn't impressed. If he can do it, I can do it. Can't even get that out. So after the superplex, he counters Theory's move for a roll-up win. And after the match, he celebrates. Vince goes to comfort Theory on the barricade. And then the punter just starts picking a fight with Vince for some reason. And then Vince takes his jacket the fuck off. He's got this look on his beady little eyes like, I'm going to fuck this guy up. I was scared for a minute. So Theory attacks the punter from behind, and Vince takes that sorry sack of shit to the woodshed. Monster clotheslines. Throws him into the turnbuckle with such, well, it doesn't really throw him. He just kind of guides him that way so the punter can run into the turnbuckle. But the effort's there, I think. Theory attacks the punter again, and then Vince punts a Dallas Cowboy football into the punter and wins. Vince and Theory celebrate after. Then they hug. And then Stone Cold interrupts with no four-wheeler. He gets in Vince's face. Theory tries to take a poke at him, and Stone Cold stuns him. And Austin wants to drink a beer with Vince. They drink a beer, and Austin gives Vince probably the worst stunner in history.
Well, it wasn't the stunner that was bad. It was the fact that he kicked Vince McMahon in the stomach, and then Vince McMahon couldn't stand up after that.
Well,
Like he
his
stumbled
balance.
over. Yeah, he stumbled over, and then Austin's trying to do the stunner, and he's like caught in the ropes, and he can't get up, and then
He probably slipped on all that goddamn beer.
I don't know. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was like Linda McMahon bad.
But he still sold it like a champ. Stone Cold and the punter drink beer after that, and Austin stuns the punter, which was the only enjoyable part of the well, that and Vince. Then Austin drinks more beer.
I like the whole thing. After the Theory match is what I'm talking about here. Also, I said it earlier. I wonder where Gable Steveson would have been had Vince still been around. I wonder where Austin Theory would be right now if Vince was still around, because that was another pet project. Like, it was clear he was trying to drag him to the top. And he was getting over as far as you suck chance. People were reacting to him. And that's what really matters. And then the fact that Vince beat McAfee, and then instead of Vince celebrating, he's like, celebrate. And then he would go and celebrate. I don't think McAfee got any offense on Vince.
No, he didn't.
Like, it was really a one-sided.
He had the out with Theory, but yeah, he didn't get a single punch.
Yeah. And then there was that moment where Vince gets the football and he teases punting it to the crowd, but doesn't. Then he punts it into McAfee. And I was really worried about that punt too.
I thought he was going to dislocate a hip or something.
Yeah. I mean, it was clear he could barely move, seeing off of the stunner and all. So yeah, it was like, oh man, if he punched that ball.
Those clotheslines, he was just like standing in one spot and barely lifting his arm.
Yeah, McAfee had to run into the clothesline.
He had to duck so it landed properly.
And then the Austin part, they're celebrating in the ring. Theory's music starts playing, and Vince is looking around. Obviously, that was a botch. I mean, they could have played that off on commentary. It's like, he's always been jumpy or something. But then the glass shatters and took us right back to Monday Night Wars. Pow, stunner. Theory took that stunner. Awesome. I love when they oversell the stunner. Him, Razor, or Scott Hall, he oversold it. The Rock definitely oversold it.
I think Vince's first one, he had the convulsions.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it was always good when they oversell it. Yeah, and then we had some beers. I think it was kind of a low-key commercial for, what is it, Stone Cold IPA?
El Segundo.
First, Vince did the taste test. It's like, yeah, it's pretty good. And then there was a shot, like it had the can, and then shot to Stone Cold
on the apron.
Yeah. So it was a low-key commercial. It's funny that they did the subtle commercials back then, and now it's like you can't get away from it.
I just think it's interesting that Stone Cold has been relegated to somebody that just comes out and stuns everybody and drinks a whole shit ton of beer. Like, who's he going to stun next?
Yeah, it was like you knew it was coming, so you're just looking for it. But I think that was his last appearance, so there is that too.
Last appearance until last year's WrestleMania. He didn't appear at 40 because that was a big thing.
I'm not talking about the Hall of Fame. I'm talking about actually doing something.
Yeah, he ran into the barricade. Remember he pissed that fan off?
He hit that fan?
Yeah.
He violently hit that fan, ran her over? I
Yep.
wonder what happened to that. Is she next to green shirt guy now?
Well, finally, we have a Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar hype video, and then Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. It's a title unification match. And Roman is 581 days as Universal Champion. And Heyman announced Roman, and Brock announces his own damn self. The bell rings, and Brock immediately takes off his MMA gloves. Roman looks worried. I thought that was a nice little beginning. They tussle. Brock takes Roman to Suplex City. Brock dumps Roman out of the ring, gets in Heyman's face. Roman spears Brock through the barricade. Then he survives a count out and gets hit with another spear. Roman hits 2 Superman punches, goes for a third. Brock goes back to Suplex City. He goes for an F5. Roman escapes and hits a Superman punch. He goes for a spear. Brock catches him and hits an F5. And Brock goes for another F5. Roman escapes and spears Brock into the referee. Roman uppercuts Brock in the balls and then levels him with the title belt. Brock survives that. Roman copies Lashley and spears Brock in the kidneys. And Brock grabs the ropes immediately. It wasn't even like a 2 count. Roman goes for another spear. Brock turns it into a Kimura. Reigns gets to the ropes. Apparently his shoulder was dislocated. Brock goes for the F5. Roman escapes, hits another spear, and wins. And now he has 2 belts.
Double champion.
It's actually a pretty good match. I didn't like Brock losing.
Well,
but eventually he had to have lost to Roman.
Yeah, it was going to happen because we had the bigger story of the 1,000-day run that Roman is going on.
Well, that and, the first 2 WrestleManias, Brock dominated. And Brock kind of did that at points in this match, but Roman was able to survive. So it's kind of cool to see like the leveling up that Roman did.
Yeah. So good stuff overall.
So the Raw after Judgment Day and Damian Priest would continue their rivalry with AJ Styles. And that led to a rematch between Styles and Edge at WrestleMania Backlash. At that event, despite Priest being banned from ringside, Edge again defeated Styles after interference from Rhea Ripley, who had joined the Judgment Day. Now, Hell in the Cell, Judgment Day defeated Styles' team in a 6-person mixed tag match, thus ending their feud with Styles. Doesn't say who it was. And on the following Raw, Finn Balor was added to the Judgment Day. And afterwards, Balor, Priest, and Ripley turned on Edge, kicking him out of the group. And I think they concertoed Beth Phoenix.
No, they just kicked him out. And then the concerto was a I Quit match that they eventually had, and they made him quit, and then they did it anyway.
Well, at Clash of the Castle that following September, the Judgment Day recruited Dominic Mysterio. Edge then continued his feud with the Judgment Day over the next few months into 2023. The rivalry would go all the way to a Hell in the Cell match between Balor's demon persona and Edge at Night 2 of WrestleMania 39. Edge won. If you want to hear all about that, check out our WrestleMania 39 review.
Which we do have.
We do. Bobby Lashley's manager, MVP, turned on him, lambasting him and siding with Omos. MVP stated that he did so because Lashley celebrated his WrestleMania moment without him. This would lead to a rematch between Lashley and Omos at WrestleMania Backlash. Omos won this one. Then on a later episode of Raw, Lashley defeated Omos again, this time in a steel cage. And then the following week, a 2-on-1 handicap match pitting Lashley against MVP and Omos was scheduled for Hell in the Cell. Lashley won, and that ended the feud. And then following his embarrassment by Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 38, Austin Theory was told by Vince McMahon that he could no longer be called Austin Theory. He is now Theory because Austin did not suit him. And then during Clash at the Castle, Theory would revert back to Austin Theory. On the SmackDown side, undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns claimed he had nothing left to prove. But he said the SmackDown Tag Champions, the Usos, needed to go and win the Raw Tag Championship to unify the tag titles. So the Bloodline would have all the gold. The following week, Raw Tag Champions RK Bro, Randy Orton, and Riddle accepted the challenge, and the match was scheduled for WrestleMania Backlash. However, on some episode of SmackDown, the match was changed to a 6-man tag, pitting the Bloodline against RK Bro and Drew McIntyre, which was won by the Bloodline. The Tag Championship Unification match was rescheduled to May 20th episode of SmackDown, where the Usos became the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, thus giving the Bloodline all the gold. Then the trio of Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch would dub themselves the Brawling Brutes and continue their feud with the New Day. with one member of each team scoring a win over the other member in singles matches. This eventually led to a tables match pitting Sheamus and Holland against Woods and Kingston on a SmackDown. Sheamus and Holland won after interference from Butch. After 2 more weeks of the teams trading wins in singles matches, Drew McIntyre joined the New Day in defeating the Brawling Brutes in a 6-man tag team match. He's just everywhere, isn't he?
Yeah.
Following week, the Brawling Brutes defeated New Day and McIntyre in a rematch, and that ended the feud. So it just ended. Like, we're tired of this. And after Roman Reigns retained the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, he claimed there was no one left to face him. Afterwards, Brock Lesnar made his first appearance since WrestleMania 38 and offered Reigns a handshake. As Reigns went to shake his hands, Lesnar attacked Reigns and then attacked the Usos. It was subsequently announced that Reigns would defend the undisputed Universal Championship against Lesnar in a last man standing match at SummerSlam. And this was billed as their last match against each other ever. At the event, Reigns, with interference from the Usos, Paul Heyman, and Theory, defeated Lesnar to retain the titles and end their rivalry. Reigns would eventually feud with Cody Rhodes, winning their first encounter at Night 2 of WrestleMania 39. Again, our review is uploaded. But in the main event of Night 2, WrestleMania 40, Rhodes defeated Reigns in a Bloodline Rules match to end Reigns' 1,316-day reign as Universal Champion. Again, reviews posted.
Indeed it is.
And that is it for WrestleMania.
No more Mania.
Do you even remember any of the earlier ones to say which one was your favorite?
I was thinking like, we should do it one of them tier lists. And I was like, oh man, I'd have to like go watch them back again.
Like I remember certain moments, like the Miss Elizabeth and Randy Savage stuff. I remember Repo Man doing that dash. Of course, Benoit and Angle had the best WrestleMania match ever, but we're done with it. Next week, we have Saturday night's main event. Of course, that's Goldberg versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight title. After that, we have WCW Super Brawl 9. Main event is Ric Flair versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan for the World Heavyweight title. And then we start ECW. We start with Hardcore Heaven 1995. We have Public Enemy versus the Gangstas as the main event.
Okay.
It might take us a while to get to the good stuff. The Gangstas is New Jack and Mustafa.
Mustafa? That doesn't sound like a gangster. Oh, I guess it could be.
Yeah. That sounds like a gangster.
Not the kind of gangster I'd be afraid of. EC Dub, people. So if you like EC Dub, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can see when that comes up.